So I'm outside the Carnegie at Thetford for the Great Resist conference, which is taking place. I didn't advertise it on the channel because we didn't want people getting it cancelled, because we know certain people watch my channel, which would make that more of a reality. And yeah, let's go and have a look and see what's happening.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's lovely to see you all here. Normally I sit at home and it's just me and the lovely Julia, but if you'd all like to come round my house, it'd make it so much easier to make the videos that I wouldn't be censored all the time or demonetised. I'm Richard Vobes. I have a YouTube channel, if you don't know that. Then there's the lovely Bowler Hat Farm channel. He's fast catching up with me. I'm trying to get the message out as I see it. I'm not an expert, by the way, on pretty much anything, and I have been interviewing, as you know, the last couple of years, loads of people who know a lot more than me, and I've been on that journey, waking up, discovering things. Over the last couple of months, however, I'm writing a book. Don't clap, because everybody's writing a book at the moment. It's very irritating, because I thought I'd write a book and I'd have something that would have all these ideas in it, but then I discover everybody in the freedom and truth movement's writing a book, so, you know, which book do you buy? You don't buy the one from the idiot who doesn't know anything about it. However, I'm writing about Biggleswick. The town that wouldn't comply. And the reason I'm writing this, it's a story, and I've told the allegory many times about the town who decided that all the net zero crap that's being thrust upon us that nobody's actually asked for, things like the surveillance and the 5G and trying to get rid of the not the supermarkets, the pubs that we just saw there, and the football clubs and all the things that brought cohesion to society. And the people of Biggleswick decided, hang on a minute, but I'm not quite sure we want to have all that eradicated and just live in a sort of globalist world in which the corporates take over everything. And they turn. And they say no. And in an allegory, in a 10-minute video, which I put trying to get the message out to everybody that perhaps this isn't the ideas that we want, or at least not the ideas I want to live in, and I quite like some of the old analogue ways of doing things, I thought, in a book, it's got more than sort of 10 pages. It's, you know, it's like 200, 300 pages. How do you tell the story, and what are the solutions in there? So I actually had to start thinking about it. It's all very well saying, oh yeah, in the town, you know, they just said no to the council. No, we're not going to do this. But when you're actually writing, you think, well, how the hell are they actually going to do this? And I had to do some serious thinking. And one of the thoughts I thought is we don't really want to be, as somebody said before, we don't want to be fighting. I think it was Francesco said, we don't want to be fighting because that's a very negative thing. We just want to go and do it. We just want to get out there and say, sod what you want, mate. We're just going to do what we think is right. Because I'm looking at you all, and you're all of a certain age-ish, and you've all got morals and ethics. You know what's right and what's wrong. The leaders obviously have no idea about what's right and what's wrong, because what they think is right is completely wrong for us. And we've just got to say, look, okay, that's what you want, mate, but we don't want it. And so in my book, I kept thinking, how do you get, not you lot, because you know, but the younger people, the people who have been brainwashed, who've been worked on, who've grown up through the school system, the indoctrination of, yes sir, right sir, anything you say sir, do as you're told sir, pay your council tax sir, pay your inland revenue bills sir, all of that nonsense. How do we get those to actually know about the things that we've all grown up with in an era in, 500 years ago, looking at some of it. No, I'm talking about myself. In that era, that when, even when we were growing up, we didn't realise we were losing it, but we were not losing it as in mentally losing it, but losing those wonderful things that we have around us. And now when you look back and you go, bloody hell, my childhood, the fields that I could play on and muck about with is all buried under houses now. Houses that probably won't be there in 50 years anyway, because they're so shoddily built, with no driveways and nowhere to park the car, and tiny little gardens and mean little windows and, sort of matchsticks holding them up. But and somebody said it before, I can't remember who said it, about being the custodians of the landscape, which is what farmers are, of course. How do we get the young people to want to be out there growing, doing the sort of stuff that we need desperately? Because farmers are old, most of them, apart from the young ones coming in, like Francesca and Andy and people like that. And Mark, of course, although Mark is getting on a bit. But most farmers have got to that point, and their children are saying, "Oh, this looks like a lot of hard work. Why would I want to do this? I want a nice fast car. I want to have a nice big house. I want to go to work and then come home and put my feet up and watch EastEnders or whatever. I don't want to be up at 4 in the morning milking cows and chasing after pigs or bringing the hens in and doing all of that." And I'm sitting there thinking, no, but that's what I want. Even at 61, I want to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning milking the cows and doing that. I don't want to be sitting in this very easily hand-over life that we've been given, where all the responsibility has been taken from us, and actually you just think, well, what's the point of living if I'm just going to sit in front of the telly all day long, or play on the internet, or just buy from Amazon every 2 minutes? So in my book, I've had to sort of work out, how do we get that? And I think the answer is, and this is where about getting the message out, is instead of, yes, we've got to know what's going on, and yes, we've got to understand what we don't want, but we have got to project to the rest of the world what we do want, the vision. And in my book, I keep talking about, they come up with this idea, we must have a vision. Because unless you paint the picture of what life can be like, instead of going, I don't want that, and I don't want that, and that's dangerous, and this is poisonous, and that's going to kill me. If we just keep doing that, what we're not saying is, look over here. Look at this amazing life that we can have. Because the great unwashed, the MPLs, non-playing character, the NPCs, there we are, that's what they're. The NPCs out there who have been brainwashed and had their soul extracted out through the ears, they don't know. The young kids out there do not know that actually, instead of sitting in front of a screen, they don't know that many of them, say 20-30% of the young people out there, do not know that they really would thrive outside doing farming or making things or being creative, instead of sitting in a big office, an open plan office with fluorescent lights in front of a screen selling insurance. They don't know that that is not living, and that they're actually, trying to get enough money so they can have a flash sports car and show off better than their friends. They don't know that the opportunity of being outside in the countryside, enjoying life, being connected to nature and actually growing something, or cutting the trees, or looking after the trees, or getting wildlife going, or having bees, or painting, or creating pots, or doing things with their hands, because they're not given that opportunity anymore. And this is why we have to paint the vision, and it's so vital that they go, my God, there's a chance I can do something. I can do something other than this motion over here, which the government are shoving everybody in. And if they did bring in conscription, they'd all be going, oh yes, to king and country. No one's going to fight for us unless we have, and not that I'm saying I want them to fight, but unless we have a vision of the future of what we like, and what we want, and what is beneficial to everybody. And that community, the keeping those pubs, and the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, the lace, the lace maker, the tailor, all of those things. Because I feel, and I don't know how long I've got left to speak, I feel that we've been put on this earth to thrive and be creative.
Yeah.
And we are not supposed to be under pressure and depressed and down and miserable and all of those horrible things. We're supposed to be enjoying this wonderful experience for however long we're here. And if we do that, we're going to stay a hell of a lot healthier. And instead of heading off, I know that I won't ask this time, because I think somebody else already asked how many people go to the supermarket. Don't. I know it's easy and do all these things. And you know, we have to set the example of what the future is. We need to get those televisions, even if they're connected to Amazon Prime and Netflix and everything else, and throw them out the window. Get rid of that stuff. And then, as I say, I'm not an expert, these are just my opinions. You do whatever you want. Julia and I do an 8 hour, that would be something, an 8-mile journey to the farm shop where we get grass-fed beef, we get bacon, we get vegetables. I do a Riverford's veg box every week, and Guy Watson there, he seems to be a good bloke, apart from the fact that he believes in global warming. You know. But he is organic and what have you, and yes, I know it's all being poisoned by what they're doing on there. But we're trying. I have to do that because there'll be somebody somewhere will take a photograph if I happen to step into Tesco's, and it will be all over the bloody internet, wouldn't it? Going Richard Vobes. So we haven't been in the supermarket for a year or so now. I will not go in. I just will not give them. If I need to buy a bottle of bleach, then I'll go to the corner shop. At least it's a family-run little business rather than walk into the big corporations. And I would urge people to do the same because we have to set the example. Well, we've got to get what is it and actually really physically decide what kind of future do we want. Do we want big conglomerates? Do we want to support that kind of industry? Do we want to support the little chap who's got a little business and growing and pay him in cash or pay him in gold or pay him in silver and get out the bloody fiat currency? Because the future, if we continue to acquiesce with the digital IDs and the stuff that are coming down the pipe, can be very, very bleak. But I'm going to finish on this. We've already won, and we are not going down the pan. It may seem that things are going to escalate and things are going to get really tough, but it isn't going to be that way. And I'll tell you why, because I'm not going to let it. I'm sending out a positive vibe, and I am not going to let this beautiful earth disappear to the dark forces. And I believe there's plenty of other people who feel the same. So thank you very much.